Alright, so let's get into it because there is quite a large area to cover. I've written them down so that I don't forget any. So the first one that I will tell you about is the one on my shoulder. So I have a little daisy on my shoulder here. I did this about 4 or 5 years ago. To be honest, I can't tell you about the pain on this one because I basically took 2 tramadols and we used this numbing cream. So I basically just sat like this and fell asleep while my shoulder was getting done. I did that because it was really hurting me. There isn't a huge reason why I got the daisy. I just like those flowers. They actually do remind me a little bit of my childhood. We had a lot of these little daisies out the front of our garden and in our backyard, so it just leaves me with good memories. And then onto my rib tattoos. So on my left hand side I have a sun and moon tattoo. So it is basically, as you can see, the full sun with some dot work happening. Quite thick lines, a lot thicker than what I originally expected and wanted it to be. Yeah, I wouldn't say that this is my most favorite tattoo, but to be honest, I don't regret any of my tattoos, whether they're still my style or not. It was something that I resonated with at the time, obviously, that's why I got them. So it was also a good reminder of how I've changed and who I have evolved into. Pain on this wasn't that bad. I actually fell asleep halfway through. It was pretty good because it is quite a large one on my ribs. On the right hand side, I did this about 3 or 4 years ago. I have a snake with a dagger. I actually got this. This is a bit of a breakup tattoo. When I was going through a breakup, I just had this urge to have a snake tattoo. When I started researching about the snake tattoos, it kind of came up talking about growth, change, rebirth, as snakes do shed their skin, so it can be a symbol of that. And I thought that was pretty much exactly what I was going through. I was moving on, moving up in the world and ready to start my next journey. I decided to put the dagger with the snake as, I guess for me personally, it just represented like breaking myself free from that connection and that time in my life from my previous relationship. So this tattoo is done by one of my friends in Bali. Her name is Tika. I will link all the tattoo artists down below that I mentioned so you can check them out. She also did these little glyphs. So there are 3 glyphs. The first symbol is reflect, the second one is protect, and the third one is connection. And I just thought they were cute. I thought they looked really nice together and I love the placing here. As I mentioned in my first tattoo tour, I was living in Bali for quite some time, and during the time that I was living there I actually adopted a puppy, and she was pretty much just like my best friend and we would just go everywhere together, and I really miss her when I'm here. I decided to get a tattoo for me and my baby on my left ankle on the outside. So Tika did this for me. I actually have a picture of me and my dog. Her name is Happy. And so we basically copied the outline of the photo of me and Happy on the beach, and then she tattooed it onto my leg. This is honestly one of my favorite tattoos. I really love it. I love the concept and it means so much to me. And then on the inner side of my ankle I have a little one as well. It is a bow and arrow. So I did this about 6 years ago at the same time that I did the sun and moon. So I got a bow and arrow that is the symbol of Sagittarius, and I got a little A for my niece. Her name is Aurora and she's a Saggy, so that's why I got that. It wasn't that painful. I was a little bit drunk at the time, so we were fine. Moving on. So I actually have my whole back tattooed and my butt cheeks. So my back, the top part was done by one artist, but in multiple sessions. Some sessions would go for 6 hours, 8 hours, some would only go for 2. We kind of just tattooed every now and then when we could. And yeah, so it's done in a lot of sessions, and it is also a cover up. So if you go back to my part 1, you'll be able to see the tattoo that I had underneath where all these feathers are. So underneath all of these feathers was my first tattoo. That's why we had to choose something quite dark. Looking back now, I do kind of wish that I took a little bit more time and thought about it first, what I was going to do. I kind of wish that I lasered my old tattoo off instead of trying to just blast it over, but overall I'm still happy with my full back tattoo now, and I do get a lot of comments all the time. I guess maybe because looking at me from front on, you wouldn't think that I was quite heavily tattooed, so maybe people get a shock and then they feel like they should say something. But anyway, so we've got the girl here, and then on top of that, just as a gap filler, we added some roses, which do need a little bit of a touch up. Around all of that, I decided to add in the flower of life. So this dot work is called Sacred Geometry. When I saw this pattern, I was just so drawn to it and attracted to it. I started researching a little bit about it. Basically, put simply, this pattern represents personal growth. It's also connected to the seed of life and the tree of life, which you may have seen before or heard of. They're all connected, and so anyway, you can research yourself about sacred geometry because that's a whole nother thing. But I just really love this pattern and design, so I decided to add it in. It took hours and hours, and some of the dots are not quite all in line with each other, but I could only imagine having to tattoo all of these dots. I'd probably go cross-eyed too, so it's fine. I'm still happy with it overall. On the bottom part of my back, I actually had two horses coming up and meeting each other in the middle. I'm not sure if I have a photo, but if there is one, I'll try and insert it here. I decided last year to cover them up because I just wasn't really happy with them. They were too light and I just didn't resonate with them anymore. They just weren't doing anything for me. So I got my beautiful friend Tika, who did some of the other ones that I mentioned, to help me to cover it up. So she came up with this design. Took us about, I would say, I'm pretty sure we did like 5 hours. She was pretty quick, pretty good, and yeah, she managed to cover up most of it. We'll probably still have about one more very small session just to touch up everything now that it's all healed, and also fill in the bottom part of my back coming down to my butt. Overall, I'm really happy with it. It actually didn't hurt that much as I thought it would. I remember the horses hurting me, killing me so bad, so bad. I got tramadols and I was being the biggest whinger. But with this cover up, I really was just like fine, managed to get it done. I really love it now. And during the same time, we did this over 2 days, but she also tattooed my butt cheeks, or leading down to my butt. So on both sides I have a kind of mandala again pattern, and I really freaking love the look of it. I really, yeah, just wanted to add something more than just that cover up. I wanted something new, so we did both of those. The lines are really thin, so it pretty much just felt like a little scratch. It wasn't really painful at all. I love the fine lines. I think it looks really good. I think it suits my body shape as well. So thanks to you, Tika, you did a really good job. So 2 left now. Some people would say that the back of my leg tattoos are 1 tattoo each, but for me, because they're pretty much like a matching, I consider them to be one piece. So I got these done about maybe like 3 or 4 years ago. The concept behind these was kind of like good versus evil. I had this random little idea, and to be honest, I wouldn't mind getting a different tattoo artist to touch up the eyeballs just to make them a little bit more prominent or a little bit more realistic to how I want them to be. But overall, like, I'm fine with this tattoo. They do need a bit of a touch up because I just suntan way too much. So I always use 50+ sunscreen, but obviously the sun will still start to damage and fade your tattoos. So I do try and cover up, especially my back, because it's such a large piece, as much as I can. The ones on the back of my legs were pretty painful. It really just felt like, I don't know, they're not even that far down, but it felt like it was tattooing in my knee ditch. And yeah, I was crying a little bit. I did them in 2 different sessions, so I'd say the pain was about 8 or 9 for me at the time. I noticed in my first video as well, I gave you a scale of like pain 1 to 10, and literally I said that every tattoo was like a 7 or 8. To be honest, it's hard to judge and tell you because I kind of forget how painful it was, and I really remember the pain because like I just obviously keep going back for more, and then that's when you remember. As soon as you start getting tattooed again, you're like, why the fuck did I do this? Why did I agree to getting this big piece? But you know, it's all obviously manageable. You can get through it, and totally worth it. So my 10th tattoo is my hands. So this will be the last one for this video, and I know that these tattoos are ones that I get the most comments and questions about because I guess these tattoos are quite original and unusual to see. You don't see them every day. I got these done by an artist called Mark Walker. He is from England, but I actually got tattooed by him in America, in San Diego. I was traveling to America and I saw that he was also moving to America at the time, and I messaged him or emailed him, and just like out of luck he was available to tattoo my palms. So I just thought it was fate. I was following him for such a long time, and I was planning actually to go to England one day and get tattooed by him because he specializes in palms. So I got these done both in the same session. It was pretty quick. He's pretty amazing and incredible at what he does. He tattooed both of my hands. I remember it being over pretty much within the hour. I think I did pretty fucking great at handling the pain. I would say the pain was like a fucking 10 out of 10. I'd had hardly any sleep. We were doing a road trip, and we drove from somewhere near like Sedona all the way to San Diego one night. I had literally about 2 or 3, maybe 4 hours sleep before my tattoo, and I think it was just mainly the adrenaline and the excitement that got me through it, because I knew that there would be no way for probably years until I would be able to see this guy again to finish these palm tattoos. He actually said to me when we finished, "I can't believe you did that. When I first met you and looked at you, I thought, man, I'll be finished early. There's no way she's gonna get through it." And then when we were tattooing, we were having a chat, and the tattooist behind me was like, "Hold on a second, have you guys started tattooing? Are you tattooing right now?" And I turned around and I was like, "Yeah." It's like, "How are you even having a conversation?" I was like, "Oh, thanks." So I think that also G'd me up and made me feel confident that I could get through it. I had to drive straight after, so he gave me gloves, like just tattoo gloves with cut out the fingers to use. The healing time was very interesting because just a week after I had gotten them done, I fractured my kneecap at a festival, which is a story for another time, in America. Yeah, idiot. And I had crutches, so I had these healing palm tattoos and crutches, fucking limping around everywhere. But overall, these palm tattoos have healed out amazingly. I'm really, really happy with them. I love it so much. They're probably, I guess, I would have to say these are my favorite. Although I love all of my tattoos in their own way, these are probably the coolest one. Love it, love them all, and I hope that you enjoyed watching this. If you have any questions about any of my tattoos or about tattooing or aftercare or anything at all in general to do with that topic, please comment down below and let me know. Oh, and also just as a side note, I am sitting on my mattress on the floor because I am moving soon. I'm selling all my furniture, so this is literally all of the furniture that I own. I'm going to make a separate video coming soon talking about what I'm going to be onto next, so stay tuned. Make sure that you're subscribed if you haven't already. I would love to have you join my little fam here. Alright, love you, bye.